they're in their taraweeh, which is qiyam al-layl, a night vigilance, in which they are meditating, contemplating, observing themselves, making an accounting of themselves, of what they said, what they did, and who did they harm with their tongue and with their actions, whom they disliked or had issues with. It's an entire life of an accounting of ourselves so that we find our sicknesses, our disease, and working upon ourselves. The immensity of oceans of guidance is guidance, and that's when Allah is describing, when we have not guided you, you are not guided. But the non-guided don't know that because they think they're guided. But if they come across these teachings they say, I never heard this before. Well that's why you're not guided. So guidance is not what you think it is, where you read a few books or read a couple hadiths and think you're understanding. But the immensity of the oceans of guidance and self-vigilance and tafakkur and contemplation, like we described, that opening the realities of Ramadan. Ramadan is not the state of thirst and hunger that they wait for the iftar because of hunger and thirst. Ramadan is a state of abstinence in which to abstain with our ears, with our eyes, with our touch, with our breath, with our entire being, to live a life in which we continuously abstain. That the plate of provision from the physical world that God has given to us of halal, we ask that, thank you but push it aside. And when we push aside our physicality, Allah grants us from a table set in paradise. And this is what all the Prophets offered, and this is what this nation is being given, that I will feed you from your spiritual realities. When we talk about feeding and tasting, and people maybe they don't have a understanding of analogies, but to sustain ourselves, because feeding is a physical way of sustaining and surviving. Spiritual feeding more important. When Allah says, if you fast with your ears I will sustain your ears. Instead of feeding it with gossip and badness and bad sounds, I will feed you from heavenly sounds.